Hello, good morning, my dear students, class 5th. Let's start the second session of Gulliver Arrives in Lilliput. Okay, so we will continue the chapter which is we have left on page number 94. Let's start that after straining very hard, I managed to tear open the strings and free one arm. I also managed to raise my head, which gave me great pain as many of my hairs were torn off. I reached out to catch some of the little men, but they were too quick for me and ran off. Then I felt as if 1,000 needles were pricking my hand, and discovered that the little men were shooting arrows at me. Okay, now my dear students, see here what happened. Gulliver managed to open up the strings and free himself, and actually he freed one arm, and also he managed to raise his head. Okay, so but obvious the his hairs were tied up, so his neck gave a great pain as many of hairs were torn off. Yes, so he really reached out the catch of some little men. What happened? He was trying to catch one of the little men, some of the little men, but what happened, they were too quick, so they ran off. Yes, and then he felt that 1,000 needles were pricking on my hand, and he found that needles were pricking on his hand, but actually what was there, he discovered that the little men were shooting arrows at him. Okay, so see how little the men were. Yes, the arrow, let's continue next. The arrows were no longer than the size of pins, but when some of them hit me in the face, it was very painful. Now see, the arrows were not longer than the size of pin for Gulliver, but for the pins means we suppose that the size of pins, but for them, for Lilliputians, it was arrow. Okay, they were arrows. So what happened next? Some of the arrows started to hit on his face, and that was really painful for Gulliver. Yes, so fearing that some arrows may penetrate my eyes. Yes, penetrate means go into. Yes, so penetrate my eyes, I put my hand across my face to protect. Yes, and then what happened, then I decided that my wisest strategy. So what strategy he thought, that would be lie quietly till nightfall. Yes, so the whole night he decided to lie like that only on the ground. I could then easily and quickly free myself. Yes, so he thought that was his strategy. I had no cause to fear. Why he should fear? They were little people. Yes, if they were no longer than what I had already seen. So the size of the men of in Lilliput, the size of Lilliputians was too small. Okay, okay. See next. But it was not to be. When the little men saw that I had calmed down, they stopped shooting at me. However, by increased clamor, I realized that their numbers had become greater. Now the people in Lilliput, they have increased. Okay, they came together on a large number. Then what happened? Hearing a sound near my ear, I turned my head and saw that the little men were trying to tell him something. The little men were erecting a platform about 18 inches high. Okay, so the platform, he could see the platform, and the platform size was 18 inches high. When the platform was completed, 4 of the little men got up on it. Okay, so see, their size was 6 inches. Okay, and so to communicate to Gulliver, they tied a platform, and then 4 of little men got up on it. They climbed on it, and what happened, one of them, who appeared to be older and somewhat higher than other 3, wore a beautiful cloak. Okay, which was held up off the ground by a tiny little boy standing behind him. So one of it seems that he may be soldier, and he tried to say something. The man in the cloak, okay, the man who was in the cloak said something in the clear and loud voice, and immediately a large group of little folk came around near my head and cut the remaining string that held my hair down. I could now see the people on the platform clearly. Okay, so now see beta here what happened. Gulliver was lying on the ground, his hair tied with the string, okay, or the needles. And then what happened, he could not see properly to the side what is happening, right? So the soldier in Lilliput, he gave the order, and the other folk, other people, what they done, they cut the string which had been tied with his hair. So they cut the string, and now Gulliver says that I can see people on the platform clearly. Okay, so now what happened, he could move his neck around. Okay, the man in the cloak, who must have been one of their leader, made a long speech, and although I could not understand what he said, but obvious their language would be different, right? I managed to follow what he was saying as he waved his arm about in a sort of sign language. He suggested something, he said something in that sign language. I presume that he was telling me that I would not be harmed if I did as I was told, but if I tried to break free, they would kill me. Okay, so I gestured that I understood what he meant, and remained quiet. But then I realized I had nothing to eat for a great many hours, and put my hand to my mouth to show I wanted to eat. Okay, so the soldier, he was saying something in his sign language, that what was the sign language that he didn't understand, but Gulliver assumed that he was telling that if I would not be harmed, then if I would not be harmed. Okay, and what happened, suddenly he showed the sign that he was hungry. Gulliver was hungry, so he expressed the sign by showing the hand to his mouth. Okay, so the leader understood. Yes, the leader seemed to understand what I wanted, and turned to the little folk and gave some orders. Okay, so the leader gave order to his little men. Then almost immediately about 100 men marched up to my face carrying food. So 100 of people were carrying food towards Gulliver, so which had been sent to me by their king. Okay, so from where the food would may have come, from the king. Okay, king of that land. I did not know what the food was. So he did not know what the food was, because see, the hens the size of beans, means the hens size, it was looks like a size of beans. Okay, and loaves of bread which I ate. So loaves of bread which he ate 2 or 3 at a time. Okay, so that things were tiny but obvious, right? The wee folk emitted cries of surprise that I could eat so much so quickly. The people were surprised that, oh, how he was eating so fast and so quick. Yes, and then what happened, I then indicate that I wanted to drink something. Now he showed the sign that he wanted something to drink. Okay, so a large number of men carried a great pot of milk. Yes, a great pot of milk, you can see in the picture also, which has been given on page number 95, and poured it into my mouth. I asked for another pot of milk. Okay, I asked, then he asked the another pot of milk, and when thrice he asked for the milk, then they showed the sign that from the whole country, the milk from the whole country he has drunken already. Okay, I called up third. They made sign that that there was no more milk. I had drunk all the milk in the country. After the generous meal, what happened? after this meal, sleep descended upon me, and that was my first day in Lilliput. So Gulliver says that he had a generous meal and a pot of milk, and after that the sleep descended upon him, and he said that this was the first day, his first day in the Lilliput. So my dear students, I hope that you have understood the story completely. Okay, so question and answers we can complete it shortly. Thank you. Bye.